All right, y'all. About to get started in a minute. Just chilling right here. Get a few people in. Marcus Bell. Marcus Bell in the house. All right. Gonna talk about a few things tonight, man. Just give y'all a few minutes to come up in here. We talk about a few things, Marcus. We're gonna talk about a few things here. First off, I want to go ahead and give y'all my prediction for Jillian Robertson versus Taylor Santos. We're gonna get that in. We're gonna talk about the fight a little bit and why this fight is closer than a lot of people feel. I know people are going for Taylor. I think Taylor has the skill set to pull this fight off, but some people think Jillian going to walk through her. But it takes more than the skill set that Jillian Robertson has to make a big statement, even though Taylor Santos is 1-1. That's why I want to talk about momentum and resume with these two fighters. Some people are talking about Taylor Santos's resume, that it's not up to par, that it's not hitting, but let's talk about her momentum, So we're going to talk about who's got the momentum right now and who got the resume. But will one really help one fighter be the victor? I mean, come on. We got to talk about that. And of course, Rose Namajunas. I want to know y'all thoughts on Rose Namajunas and her title fight with Weili Zhang. So many people are going in. That's been the talk of the past few days. I told you how I felt. I just did a video. I just posted a video talking about it. What else? What Dana White had to say. How much can we really? How much of what Dana White? How much of the words he really says all the time, it really makes sense. I mean the statements he made. The statements Dana White made. Can we really hold those for gold? And I just don't see Rose Namajunas as a duck, so we'll talk about that. I already did a video, like I said, but I want to know y'all thoughts. And then I want to talk about Joanna. Joanna possibly coming back in 2021, and my thoughts on her coming back. I know some of y'all might disagree on how I feel about Joanna right now, but I think her presence is needed in the strawweight division. I think it's much needed. So yeah, going back, man. Y'all, one more minute here. We'll get started. Marcus Bell says some people are still looking at the fight when Taylor lost to Mara Romero Barella. Yeah, I mean, you can't really base that off anything. I mean, styles make fights. Jillian Robertson is not the same fighter that Barella is. And, Taylor Santos is not the same fighter she was then. And Barella definitely is not the same fighter that she was then. So, a couple minutes here. Just want to make sure this thing is not lagging on me. Maybe we can get started. There it goes. I know some people up here still saying she ducking. It's crazy. All right. Let's get it going. All right, got Robert Henry in the building. What's going on? Robert Henry said the Savage WMMA podcast is back. I just have to upload it for a little later, 8:30, 8:45. Sounds good. So yeah, man. My final pick here, I'm gonna make tonight on this fight: Jillian Robertson versus Taylor Santos. I think this fight is going to be competitive. I think it's going to be explosive at times. I think there's going to be some back and forth on the ground. And I think this is going to be a fight where you really get to see what type of improvements Jillian Robertson has made, if she's made any improvements. I think Jillian Robertson, give her a lot of credit for what she can do on the ground. Um, but I think the stiffer the competition gets, that's whenever you get to see the difficulty she has in getting some of these more skilled fighters to the ground. You know what I mean? Like, the higher the level the fighter is, the stronger they are, then you'll get to see the trouble sometimes she might have here and there to get these fighters down. And I kind of base that off her stand-up game, which is something that, hopefully she's improving on, that she's working on. But yeah, like even going back to some of her past fights, she's been able to overpower some of these other fighters because she can be scrappy on the inside a little bit, but not enough, but just enough to trip up a fighter and get him to the ground. And that's where she's better with her stand-up. Whenever she starts throwing hands on the ground, that's where she's more so impressive. But her stand-up, her striking when she's in her stand-up is still have a lot of work. She still has a lot of improvements to make. So going into this fight here, like I said, Jillian Robertson, we're going to see what she possesses, what she's been working on, how much she's polished up on her jab, on some of her basic straight shots, because she's going to need them. You're talking about Taylor Santos, who has an underrated ground game. Not a lot of people have seen it because she stopped a lot of girls. She's knocked out a lot of people in her early career. She's knocked out a lot of fighters, so it's not really something that she really had to depend on. But it's there. Brazilian fighters, their ground game is there. It's always there. It's more so there than their striking game. Because I remember in the past when I used to just watch fights, I'd say, okay, most of these Brazilian fighters, they're solid on the ground, but you could really see like they lacked hand game. But in Taylor Santos' case, she has a hand game. And it's like I said, it's carried her through a lot of fights. It's carried her through a lot of fights and a lot of stoppage wins. And going into this one here, it's good that she has that. She has that to fall, not even necessarily fall back on, but to utilize throughout a whole fight, because you got a fighter in Jillian Robertson who lives on the ground. She lives for it. So instead of trying to make this a 50-50 fight, go ahead and use what your opponent doesn't have. With Jillian Robertson, don't have the hand game. Or she's working on it, but she don't have like a solid hand game to get fighters to the ground. And again, Taylor Santos, over 12 years of experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm sure that is going to come into play into this fight. So that's something we definitely have to factor in. And one of the things I want to talk about is resume. This is another fight where I can't necessarily look at resume and just say this fighter is going to win based off of what they did to XYZ, last 4 or 5 opponents. I can't say that. I can't say Jillian Robertson is going to win this off of her last 4 or 5 opponents. No, I can't say that. Because for one reason, styles make fights. I think Taylor Santos is not the same fighter a Courtney Casey is, or a Poliana Botelho. She's not the same type of fighters like they are. So I can't really say that what she did to them, she's going to do to this opponent. Same can be said with Taylor. I mean, I know some people are saying Taylor Santos, her record is kind of padded, that she's fought nobodies. But I think that's everybody's start. Jillian Roberts, her beginning had a few fights like that. I mean, she has faced better competition here and there, but you got to factor in the confidence that does build up for a fighter. I know some people said that Jan would lose to Claudia Gadelha based off of her resume. People felt like Jan Zhanan, her record wasn't any good. So they were like, okay, Claudia's going to beat her because she didn't have that experience. But it came in, but you had to factor in this next thing, momentum. Momentum helps build up confidence. Confidence helps you build up competence. And when you build up that confidence in your skill, then you can take that anywhere. I mean, you do need the opponents. Yes, that's something I always say. You do need opponents, but in some of these other fighters' cases, this is what it leads up to. Sometimes they start off with the smaller level fighters that get them out of there. They graduate, and now they come up to the bigger test. Something like Joanna. She had some close fights. Angela Hill. She had some fights with fighters nobody knew, but she caught somebody like Claudia Gadelha, who's a physically strong fighter, good wrestler. I know she's on the downside, but at the same time, like I said, she had enough momentum to beat a fighter like her. And I know that might be a little bit different here because, Taylor Santos is on the rise and Jillian Robertson's on the rise. So people might see that as kind of a different scenario. But it's similar because everybody was basing it off a resume. And I think that Taylor Santos is not given enough credit for the behind the scenes, the BTS, the stuff we're not seeing that she's doing, the striking she's improving, the physical strength, the strength training that she's putting herself through to make sure that she's prepared for every fight. Granted, we only seen her in 2 UFC fights, but she's been back and forth to the drawing board about 14 damn times, because every single time she gets a fight, it gets canceled, so she is preparing, even though she's not actually applying it yet. But yeah, this is the fight here to really prove that in, so moving forward, another thing I have to say too is that this could be a handful for Jillian Robertson too, because let this be that opponent where, let this be the time where she might have something that you can adjust to. In the past, say a Courtney Casey, fighter moved up, tall fighter, strong fighter, but had no solid takedown defense. You could walk right through that type of fighter. But what if Taylor Santos has solid takedown defense? What if she doesn't want to take it to the ground? She just wants to stand all night. Do you have a way to get past her knees? Do you have a way to get past her tie clinch? Do you have a way to get past her judo throws? Do you have a way to get past any of that stuff? That's the problem that Jillian Robertson might face in this fight. So you can't go back and look at resume and say, oh, because she did this to so-and-so, she's going to go in there and do this to Taylor Santos. That's not going to happen. It possibly might not happen, And again, people have to think. One thing I wanted to bring up here, what did I say? Hold on. So yeah, Styles making fights. Again, Jillian does have the better resume. I can agree with that. Let's go down some of her names who she got here. I mean, I said Courtney Casey and Jillian Poliana Buteo. Who else has she fought? Like, gotten out of there. Sarah Froda, Veronica Macedo. She's okay. Veronica Macedo's okay. Like, she's not really like a top-notch opponent. And yes, she did get Molly McCann out of there faster than Taylor Santos. Well, Taylor Santos went to decision with Molly McCann, but again, styles make fights. So she submitted Emily Whitmire, Hannah Cyphers, lost to Cynthia Calvillo. So she has been in there with a better quality of opponent. But hold on for a second. I just saw something. Jillian beat up Emily Whitmire. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Marcus, ain't that what I just said? I was reading her resume. I said she submitted Emily Whitmire and Hannah Cyphers. She didn't beat her up, man. So she submitted her too. So yeah. Unless you're trying to say that's her like top notch opponent, But yeah. Anyways, yeah, so she does have better names on her resume, definitely a lot more UFC level fighters on her resume, but this might be a style that's tailor-made for somebody like Taylor Santos. That's when you can kind of go back and look at her resume. Why was she knocking some of these people out? Was she knocking out grapplers who were coming straight at her? I mean, I don't know every single fight that Taylor Santos had, like out of her 16 fights, like what level of fighter they were. But out of some of these fighters, they may have been taking some, crazy risks as far as shooting in. Some of the things that Jillian Robertson might do in this fight that leave themselves wide open to the point like Jillian Robertson might leave herself open and get knocked out, you know? So you could see something like that coming into play in this fight. You know, you could definitely see if Taylor Santos starts using some tricky footwork in there, you know, being a little slippery, it might frustrate a fighter like Jillian Robertson, and she goes in and try to shoot for a single leg, kind of like how McFarlane did with Juliana Velasquez. She shot in for that single leg, grabbed the leg, and Juliana just started like wailing on McFarlane, you know, catching her with that right hand till she opened up a cut. So you could see a fighter like Taylor Santos in a scenario like that where she uses her physical strength, her leg strength. Girls got some strong legs, so you use that foundation strength, and then whenever somebody like Jillian shoots in, grabs that leg, you kind of just like start striking them. At the same time, you can kind of pull your leg and walk with them and kind of drag them. So there could be some scenarios like that playing out in this fight where she just chooses to stand, wait for that opening, counter her, and maybe stop Jillian Robertson. Because I'm saying she out of some of these knockouts on Taylor Santos' resume, they have to stand for something. You know, I know everybody probably feels like, yeah, she didn't fight nobody in the beginning, but come on, you knock out that many fighters. Somebody in there had a style similar to Jillian Robertson, where they maybe tried to step in, shoot in for a takedown, and she counters them. You know, I mean, she's knocked out people with head kicks, punches, just straight up stopping people. So she's got the power. So I think, man, yeah, like going forward, I think that this fight is going to be interesting, man. Like I said, I think it's really going to be more so based off of momentum with these two fighters. Like, I can't really say it's going to be just off of what they did in the past. Even for Jillian Robertson, like what she did to an Emily Whitmire, what she did to a Hannah Cyphers, I don't see her doing that to a Taylor Santos. And Taylor Santos, her momentum, you know, as far as improving on her striking and her takedown defense, it might favor her more so because she might just say, I'm going to go out there and make this statement. I'm not even going to take this to the ground. I know what this girl is going to go for, so I'm going to just counter that and use my IQ and get her out of there. Because I will say this, you know, Jillian Robertson, she is a tough fighter, got a good chin, and she won't stop trying. For the 3 rounds that she's in there, she's not going to stop trying. She's going to go in there and continue to try to take you down, try to close that distance to take you down. She's not going to really strike with you or try to like knock you out. She can be predictable where she just goes in and tries to constantly take you down. So with that, it's definitely going to leave openings for big uppercuts, big knees, big head kicks, some rough exchanges I won't even say exchanges, but some rough barrages landed by Taylor Santos in the clinch, you know. So I think it's just gonna be a good fight. I think it's gonna be all around good fight, man. But if I had to pick, I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna go with Taylor Santos in this one. Pretty close though, pretty close the more and more I look at it. You know, I'm not just going to say it because I say one fighter ain't got a hand game, but I think it will be close because I don't know if Taylor Santos is going to sit down on a big power shot and catch her like Macy Barber did, but she might pick her apart from the outside more so. Then an accumulation might come in where she can stop her in like the second or third, but it's not going to be like a big power shot that just rocks or buckles her like Macy Barber was able to do. And y'all already told me who y'all got, but yeah, that was my pick. Jillian Robertson, to win this fight, man, she has to make sure that her striking game is improved in here, because you're just not going to take down a Brazilian fighter who has 12 years of experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're not just going to go in and take them down easy. So you got to set up something. You got to set up a takedown behind the jab, land something big, switch levels, land some leg kicks, chop the fighter down, and then maybe shoot in for like a body lock. So she's gonna have to be a little bit more tricky in this fight, not go in there with the same mindset that you had when you fought Courtney Casey. You can't do that. Let me check the chat here real quick. I was just going on about this fight going down. Let's see. Mark said, I hope Jillian doesn't stick her lip out again if she loses. What do you mean, like she was pouting? Let's see. Robert Henry said, I think Santos has been impressive in both of her UFC fights, just more against McCann. Not to derail the topic schedule, but there's been an informal announcement made in the last few hours. Nina Ansaroff apparently has fight news coming soon. Okay. Not big news, but I guess that is somewhat news, right? Daniel H, what's going on? So yeah, Jillian Robertson has to make sure that her hands are somewhat up to speed in this fight. You can't jab short like she has in the past. You got to commit to a full-on jab, full-on straight right hand. Make it ugly. You don't give her any real estate. Make it an ugly fight on the fence. Do what she does on the ground. Like, I know the weight the way the weight will be distributed, like as far as like when you standing up on inside fighting, is different than whenever she's on top, which is something she's used to. But she's gonna have to be in those clinches more and work punches the way she does on the ground. She got to work those punches and try to get the trip, get that top position, and just get the ground and pound in. You got to work the ground and pound in until she could actually, open something up on Taylor Santos and eventually stop her. Taylor, to me, we already know she has a better hand game, but Taylor just needs to go in there, pick her apart, make her look for her, make her find her, and time Jillian Robertson's takedowns. I don't even really think Taylor needs to take it to the ground this fight. Maybe if she want to close out the show and just be impressive, but if she really wants to win and look good, just take Jillian apart from the outside. Lateral movement, make her find her, make her miss the takedown, shoot in, clinch with her when she does come in, bang big knees to the body, break out with big elbows, and just beat her up. Beat her up that way. Be first in the clinch and then break out of the clinch with elbows. That's how you get that vicious work in, and you put damage on somebody like Jillian Robertson. Because I don't see Jillian Robertson going to the cards here. She's gonna have to be a fighter that you got to stop. You got to go in there and stop her. But yeah, I'm gonna ride with Taylor in this fight. It gets, more and more, like I said, you look at it, can be a little close and competitive. There's always that factor of one fighter just being off that day that we can never factor in. But I'm going to go with Taylor, possibly like a second or third round stoppage in this one. She's going to land something big, maybe to the body or to the head in this fight that stops her. Yeah, that's what I got. Because I think the higher level the strikers get, the stronger they get. That's what really gives Jillian some problems in footwork. But yeah, I know y'all gave me y'all's pick, but it hasn't changed since then, right? Taylor still for y'all in the chat. Let's move on here. I just dropped a video talking about this situation, man, but I want to know some more of y'all thoughts on the situation, like with Rose Namajunas. Really, I just want to say it again on my live stream here, is the fact that you really can't take to heart what Dana White says. Like I said last night, you really can't take to heart what he says as far as fighters ducking or fighters not wanting to fight. Hold on, what did Marcus say? Don't forget Taylor's leg kicks. Yeah, all of that, man. All of her stand up. Any of that, man. You just switch up levels, talking legs, jabs, whatever. Switch the levels up on her. You chop that front leg down, that lead leg down. Yeah. But yeah, Dana White, man, like, he is one of them type of fighters. He's one of those type of promoters that's gonna say one thing to your face and then take it in another direction, because you got to think, man. Like I said, this ain't. I said this in my video I just put out. This not like a respectable martial arts academy where everybody just comes to fight and we fight on an even playing field. There's money involved in this thing. There's money, entertainment, and there's so much money that he's putting into this thing. Now that this pandemic is going on, he needs to try to make money back, and on top of that, like, he promotes this thing kind of like the WWE. So he's got to put some type of dramatics in there where he'll say to your face, like, okay, it's all good, we'll discuss it later. And then when he goes to the media, he's going to say, Rose don't want the fight. Rose don't want this fight. He's going to do that exact opposite to kind of get the media talking and get the feathers ruffled up. So he says it's looking like she don't want a title fight, and they're going to move on to Carla Esparza. I know y'all hating that fight, but yeah, don't y'all don't even start on the Carla fight. I know y'all don't like that fight at all, but I ain't got a problem with it in the meantime while Rose is dealing with the situation that she's dealing with. But yeah, Dana White, what did he say before? Amanda Nunes is never going to headline. Curtis Blades is a boring fighter. I mean, a lot of people might not like wrestlers, but he'll say one thing and to his face, he'll shake his hand, Curtis Blades, he cool with him. But then the next minute, he gonna say Curtis Blades is a boring fighter. Like, I don't see him being a main event either. He'll say some things like that, just like some Vince McMahon type of shit. He'll say that type of stuff just to kind of ruffle the fighter's feathers up. But kind of put him in a bad light. Like, when you say that stuff like Rose Namajunas ducked the fight, come on. When did she ever duck the fight? And then to the people that say she ducked the Weili Zhang title fight, why would you fight a title fight coming off a loss to Jessica Andrade? Tell me that. What's the logic in that? And y'all would have been pissed off if she got a title shot after getting knocked out. Y'all would have been like, why y'all giving her a title shot and she just got knocked out? Why ain't she fighting Jessica Andrade? So she chose to fight Jessica Andrade instead. She did the logical thing, right? But instead, people want to try to, put that receipt out there and say, oh, she ducked that fight. No, she didn't duck that fight. She went to get the get back. She got the get back first. And now she's in a position to negotiate and schedule this title fight whenever she wants. So real quick, let me look at the chat. Danielle H said Dana trying to rush Rose. TJ, okay, let's see what he got. Don't believe Dana, believe Rose then. Didn't she say she doesn't know if she wants to fight anymore? I ain't gonna pay attention to that. We remember when she said that. And she has fought since then. Let me just put that there. She already ducked Zhang once and people acting up all shocked that she do it a second time. All right. So she chose to fight the person she beat her before she fought for the title. Okay. I know that's trolling comment, so yeah. I ain't even gonna play on that. Someone said Rose is shook. I don't see that. Statement said a while ago, TJ, I believe her if she said it, but not Dana ever. I don't believe it because he said it. It's like I was saying, I don't believe it because he said it. You never heard the words come out of her mouth saying that, oh man, this girl too dangerous, I ain't fighting her. When has she ever said that? I mean, this is a girl who fought Joanna twice, Jessica Andrade twice, got beat by Carla Esparza, in the very beginning of her career. dealt with some rough life. So why would she be scared of Wei Lee, who a lot of people in here are 50-50 on? Some people are fans of her. Some people feel like she's not that good. Some people feel like Joanna beat her, and they feel like she's not that talented, But I, of course, feel like Wei Lee is talented, strong, skilled, and all of that. But, on the come up, of course, still making her statement. But, everybody kind of wants to put it into play how they want just to fit their narrative. But I think Rose is doing the right thing she's not saying no. She's dealing with a death in the family, which I wouldn't even put out there if she hadn't to put it out there. But I know some of y'all knew back in October, back in September when the pandemic went down, she was dealing with the death in the family, dealing with a sick family member, excuse me. At the time, her grandfather had COVID, and, she was spending time with him. And Dana had already put out there his words. Dana had put out there that the fight was reportedly in the works, which I posted on my Instagram. I think I even made a video about it maybe like a month or two ago. He put out there that the fight was reportedly in the works, but you didn't hear her mention it, and you didn't hear Wei Lee mention it really. Like, maybe he said some things to her, hey, this fight's going down, but it was never even like finalized. The fight wasn't even close to being finalized. So in the meantime, while her grandfather's probably on his deathbed, she probably told Dana, hey, I'm dealing with this right now. So Dana probably was like, okay, that's fine. Take the time you need. And then he goes straight to the media and say, Rose is ducking. People, how y'all, people do that crap all the time. Y'all gossips do that all the time. Y'all acknowledge what one person says is facts, and then you take it and stretch it. And that's how he did. Genesis, what's going on? Danielle H. Rose is brave for facing Andrade again. That's why I believe she isn't scared to fight Zhang. Exactly. Like, why would you even like try to play the spoiled brat and go straight after a knockout loss and just try to be greedy and take a title shot that you don't deserve instead of righting that wrong? So Rose did that. She went and righted that wrong against Jessica Andrade. May not have looked great, but she did it, right? Put herself back in a position to fight for the title. So actions speak louder than words, right? So why are we going to base what Rose said after the Jessica Andrade loss? Why are we going to base it off of that? She said she didn't want to fight anymore after that fight, but she's fought since then, right? So we're not talking about that. We're past that. Roger, what's going on? So yeah. What is a duck to y'all? I mean, if you want to look at it straight down the middle, I mean, like, what is really a duck to y'all? I mean, without getting in your feelings about fighters, like, just because you don't like one fighter, you're going to say they duck just because the fight didn't come to fruition, Like, I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan, but I know she walked through everybody's ass at 135, and I don't think she ducked anybody at 135. So I can say she never ducked anybody. I like Joanna as a fighter. I'm not like a big fan of Joanna's personality, but she's a fighter that didn't duck anybody. But I know some of y'all, whenever y'all don't like a fighter, y'all automatically gonna say that person's a duck just because they got other things going on. Because I mean, she's brought this up before, that grandfather is an important part of her life. So why would you want to try to put that on hold when you can put a fight on hold? The business can wait. The business side of things can wait. You can just say, okay, let me put this off. Let me take care of what I need to do. Grieve, go to the funeral, grieve, let all that pass by, and that's it. And then after that, we can get back into life. We can get back into life. We can get back into my life. So yeah, I gave that example yesterday, Roger. Like I said, I like Megan as a fighter. Well, y'all know how I like Megan. I like Megan as a fighter as far as being an exciting fighter. But when it came down to that Chris Cyborg call out, that yeah, yeah, that was avoiding the fight. That was avoiding the fight right there. There was nothing else coming into play. I mean, when you got a death in the family, you're dealing with injury, illness, all of that stuff gets a pass to me. All of that stuff gets a pass to me. But when you're talking about something like that, where you say, "Yo, I want this fighter," and that person says they want to fight you, then boom, and you go MIA, then yeah, that's a duck. That's a duck. Shoot, my man, boxing. I mean, for the boxing fans, y'all know my man. Errol Spence put my man Keith Thurman in MIA for a while, right? Keith Thurman, unified champion, WBA, WBC champion. Errol Spence comes through, stops Kell Brook, gets the IBF belt. What was it? Keith Thurman said before that, right? He said he wanted to be undisputed champion. Errol Spence got that other belt. What happened? That fight never happened, right? I mean, of course, he said there were injuries here and there. Maybe there was an elbow injury here and there, but why all of a sudden do those injuries come whenever Errol Spence got his belt? And why did that fight still not take place today, 3 years later? So that's a good example of a duck. Daniel H. I was gonna say Jermaine Durandame. That's a perfect example of a duck. I mean, you win that featherweight title, right? Win that featherweight title, but you vacate it because you have an injury. Instead of saying, "This is my belt. Let me get my surgery, and then boom, we can make this fight happen." We can do this. So, so there's many examples of what a duck is. I mean, duck, when it comes down to no outside influences, it's all in the mind of that fighter. Like I said, I give you a pass with the physical. Like, if you got a broken arm, I give you a pass to put the fight off. But when you say no, that's a duck. Like, when you just completely turn down a fight and say you don't want that fight, that's a duck. Now, if you say your wrist is broke, let me get surgery, whatever, then I'll come back and fight you, that's fine. That's not really avoiding the fight. So who heard Rose say that she's not gonna fight? Like, who actually heard Rose say, "I don't want to fight"? Did she post that on Instagram? I mean, so many people say that she outright said she didn't want this fight, or she outright went MIA. All right, so let me see. Let me check this chat real quick. Robert Henry said, "Breaking news: Sam Hughes will be on Coach's channel 8:30 p.m. December 19th." Shout out to Sam Hughes. Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to her too, because I usually talk to her online a lot. I usually talk to her through message, DM, on IG. We usually DM back and forth. She seems pretty cool. Marcus said a duck is when somebody don't want to be champion anymore because they want to fight one fighter. Jermaine. Stamina said that statement is 0% fact. TJ. Hey, ain't it always 0% fact when you're dealing with TJ? Danielle H said, "I was gonna say Jermaine too." Oh, yeah, okay. Jermaine's case because Cyborg was clear title challenger, right? ducking is how Carla Esparza's career survives. Can't really say she ever ducked anybody. I mean, Roger said if you offer 3 fighters and you choose one, then you duck the other 2. December 18th. That's today. Okay, yeah. That's today. It's at 8:30. You said, right? Okay, 8:30 on December 18th. Yeah, I'll be out here. I'll be done by then. I'll be done at like 8:15. I'll be off at like 8:15. So, but yeah, y'all know what a duck is. I mean, feelings aside, if you don't like a fighter or not, like I said, I like Megan Anderson, but I can honestly say that she avoided that Chris Cyborg fight. So I can definitely say that because I was following the fighter's career, and then all of a sudden, when you do the opposite of what you say, then I can say, wow, you really avoided that fighter. The majority of fans do, TJ. They all go by feelings. You can't say Carlo ever ducked anybody. Not whenever you fought Joanna and you fought Tatiana Suarez and you fought like some of these top names already. I don't think you really could say a person's ducking anybody. So yeah, like I said, I pretty much said how all to say on this situation. I mean, if things change, then of course, and we got to change different. Like if the fight never happens, if the fight just comes, if the fight just doesn't come up at all in 2021, but I have a feeling it will. Everything will be all right then. But Weili versus Carla, I know a lot of people are pissed off about that fight. I mean, you got to have something in the meantime. And I think that this is going to be a good fight where Weili gets possibly might get another highlight on her resume. She's gonna be getting another highlight on her resume, So, Ernest Richardson, what's going on? She already put out something about that on Instagram, TJ. She said that she wasn't ducking. She acknowledged it. She said she wasn't ducking that fight. The fight was never offered. A rematch. I know you're talking about Amanda Ribas. So, I mean, if they acknowledge and say that it wasn't really offered, a contract wasn't offered, then hey, I can't say it. I'm not in her management corner. Ernest Richardson said Joanna versus Nina. Hey, that'd be interesting comeback fight. I think that probably would happen at like 125 though. I don't know if Nina could drop down to 115 after having a baby so fast. Joanna versus Jan, that's good. Yeah, so Dana White, man, like I said, anything that comes out of this guy's mouth, like you can't really take it to heart. All you can do is go back and fact check it. You can say, yo, where did you hear that? And nobody ever heard him say anything, Rose say anything of the sort about avoiding the fight. So our last thing I want to talk about, man, Joanna. Joanna, man, like I used to have like a love-hate relationship for just as far as just like, oh man, she used to annoy me sometimes, but the one thing I could always give her credit for was her skill and her consistency in the octagon, and that's why I watch these fights. That's why I watch these fighters. I'm looking at what they do in the octagon, not necessarily what they do on the outside all the time. I mean, but she could be a bully at times, and that was a way I used to kind of say, man, I don't really respect Joanna. But the more and more I just go back and look at what she was able to do in there, you got to say, man, a fighter like Joanna is needed in the strawweight division, even to this day. Um, I know I've been looking at her on her IG as of recently. Been following her for a while, and you see Joanna goes through those phases where she's just kind of chilling and she's kind of just going around, going to the beach, going to other countries or whatever. But I noticed that the tempo and the texture's kind of been changed and the environment's kind of been changing on her Instagram. Now she's getting back into the gym. She's been hitting the mat. She's back to being out there with some of her training partners. She's been out there training with Valerie Lareda. I think Marina Moreau's out there. I even saw Paige Van Zandt out there at ATT. So she's been back in the gym getting in work, and it's looking like that Joanna might be coming back with a fight in 2021. And with that being said, I think it's necessary. I think it's a must that Joanna does come back to the strawweight division in 2021. I know that we say that the division is thriving. We say that we got a lot of talent. It's one of the best divisions. Yeah, I can't knock any of that, man. That's all true. But there's something about Joanna. She used to bring something to the table, man. Like, she used to bring not only that consistency of a champion and just like a skill set like no other, man. I mean, she brought the dramatics there. She brought the theatrics there. She brought the entertainment into the division. I'm not really a big, not a big Ronda Rousey fan, but same can be said with her. She put some life into the bantamweight division, same way Joanna put some light, a lot of light into the strawweight division. And I can go back now and appreciate that because not only was she putting some life into the division, even if it was being the villain or being the bully, she backed that crap up. You know what I mean? And if you can do both, if you can find a good balance, if you can talk your trash and you can back it up just as good as you can with your hands, then hey, all day long I have to give that person respect. I mean, my favorite fighters, if you talk about Jack Johnson, you talk about Muhammad Ali, these fighters like them, they used to get in fighters' heads all day long. They talk trash, they irritate you, but then they would go and whoop you. They go and whoop you with their hands just as good. Prime Roy Jones, like he said, he grew up being an agitator, and that's what the hell he would do. He would talk the trash, he'd go in there, agitate the crap out of you, and back it up. So I think Joanna kind of brings that to the table of the strawweight division. She kind of brings that to the table in WMMA, period. She plays that bully role well, but push all that aside, the girl trains her behind off. She trains her ass off. Definitely one of my favorite styles in there, because I'm a fan of hands anyway, and she could throw hands like no other fighter in the strawweight division. I think that watching her train definitely brings forth another generation of women that want to fight. And that's needed. It brings in the inspiration for another generation to come in. Let me check the chat real quick. Genesis is listening. She's spying. Daniel H said, I appreciate Joanna. Used to not like her. Yeah, like I always liked watching her fight. She just irritated me, but now I'm starting to like her more. Just going back and looking at more and more her fights. Like, I had a love-hate relationship. Like I said, I hated to like her. Like, I was like, damn it, I can't like her, but I would still wind up liking her. So Joanna can't keep doing that weight cut. She needs to go to 125 and stay there. Yeah, wherever she goes, I think she's going to be a problem. Wherever she goes, she's going to be a problem between 115 and 125. Let's see. Stamina said, if you walk it like you talk it, you're good by me. She came up short with Rose, but so be it. I respect it despite not being a fan. Joanna's important. Yeah, Yeah, it came up short against Rose. I mean, you always going to have one fighter that studies you, or they just got that style to counter your style. But other than that, I mean, when you look at the track record, yeah, Rose is solid. Yeah, Rose beat her. But when you just look at Joanna's like title defenses and her dominant performances, it's like, yo, Joanna has this body of work that you could arguably say is better than Rose's outside those two title fights and the title fight and the rematch. I mean, outside of that, I think there's so much more that Rose brings to the table that a lot of fighters, women and men, could follow. Like, if I was training somebody now, like a Muay Thai fighter coming from, well, a fighter coming from Muay Thai, and they wanted to be in the mixed martial arts, they want to make that transition, I would give them tapes all day of Joanna. I say, watch all of her fights. If I had a young girl that wanted to do that, I'd say, look, you want to transition from kickboxing, Muay Thai, we're here, to mixed martial arts, and you want that to be your style, watch how Joanna does it. Joanna, some people bash her, call her a decision queen. I don't care what you say. Her fights are exciting. People call her a decision queen. She's one of the most exciting fighters out there. For a decision queen, she will whoop your behind for 3 to 5 rounds, and you'll take it and like it. If you don't like it, then knock her out in the fight. But you can't do that, right? Because she's still whooping you. She ain't going to knock you out, but she knows how to punish you, So that's another thing I like. She punishes fighters. She goes in there and whoops you. You got no answer for 5 rounds, But yeah, I would let a young lady that wanted to come up watch her fights just to say, look at her takedown defense. Look how fast she scrambles. Look how fast she pops back up. Look how strong she is. For a fighter that we like to bash and say she don't have power, she's strong as hell. For a fighter we all say, oh, look, she's tall, long, and skinny. She's strong as hell. She was strong as hell even in the Valentina fight. I mean, Valentina had to be strong the way she slammed her a couple of times. Even like the way she kicked her to the body and chest and drew Joanna back. You got to be strong to do that. So Joanna, on that hand, man, Joanna, physically strong fighter that she does it her way. She does it her way, and you got to give her credit for that. That's why if she does come back in like 2021, it'll be good. I know Joanna, and everybody's been mentioning that as an opponent. That would be a nice opponent for her, because I think she's a fighter that's done so much, can come back on any level, and she ain't got to start at the bottom of the top 10. You put her back in there with the top 5 fighter. She's held that belt for a long time. She is that fighter, so she comes back in there and she'll make a statement on somebody in the top 5. Like Carla Esparza worried about the title shot right now. She needs to go back in there and try to fight Joanna again, just to get that revenge. But at the same time, the other part of me says that's a style match. That's a style nightmare for Carla. I don't ever see her beating her, but you would think you would want to try to go back in there and see if you can readjust and right that wrong. So man, yeah. If Joanna comes back, Jan would be a good fight for her to get in there against. Let me pull up this top 5. If she can make strawweight again. But damn, could y'all believe it if she did come back and say, I want to come back to 125? Now that would be crazy. I mean, we already saw how things went when she fought Valentina, but to actually see her thrown in the flyweight mix, it would kind of if you threw Joanna in the flyweight mix right now, it would be interesting just to see how she could really, expose some of the work ethic and dedication to some of these other fighters. Now, I'm not bashing anybody in there. I'm just saying, like, she could really put them on notice and say, look, I can come back after a year off, go to 125, and I can take on your best flyweights. You know, I could take on a Lauren Murphy, or I could take on a Caitlin Chikagan, or hell, I could give Jessica Andrade a rematch. You know, that would be interesting, man. Like if she did do that, if she came right back, man, that would be cool. I would like that too. All right, let's see. Wendy Clear said Joanna held up way better than Caitlin against Valentina. Wendy Clear said, I don't think JJ wants to give up her size advantage. Yeah, I could see that too. Like, I could see her not wanting to give up that size advantage big time. Like, you know, like the way she goes in there and she's just able to dominate off of her reach, her long jab, and them long kicks. I don't see her wanting to do that, but I think if she did go to flyweight, she could still like give a lot of these girls work. I mean, Joanna versus like Jennifer Maia, that one might be interesting. I mean, that one might be a little bit a different pace of a fight for her because Jennifer Maia can, you know, come in there a little bit heavier. But I could see Joanna beating like a Calvillo, Murphy, and like Chikagan and even Andrade in a rematch. So, but yeah, if she's a comeback at strawweight, she go right back in there with Jan. If Nina Azarov comes back down to 115, they could make that fight happen. You know, any of those fighters in the top 5 would be good. You know, so yeah. I think she should come back, man. Like, one of the strongest in the strawweight division. And again, you know, just a big personality for the strawweight division, because you got a lot of talent, man, but you just need some of them type of fighters to bring that personality. TJ said Joanna beats everybody at 125 except Valentina. Yeah. I think the only one that would be kind of tough would be the Jennifer Maia fight for some reason. I think that the boxing and the strength and that weight advantage for Jennifer Maia might come into play, but you never know. Joanna could make that adjustment to win that fight too. Daniel H said, do you all think Joanna will want some get back against Weili if Weili wipes out the rest of the division? Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely think that Joanna would want some get back. You know, Joanna's not a ducker. She definitely would, because she felt like she won that first fight. A lot of people felt like Joanna won the first fight. I felt like Weili won it, but there's a lot of people that felt like Joanna did win that fight. And I think she would want to do that. You talk about a fighter who fought Valentina like 4 times and Rose twice. So, yeah, she would do that. I think if Weili beats Rose, let's say if it plays out like this. Let's say Weili beats Rose. Well, let's say after Weili beats Carla Esparza, her and Rose, they fight. And then Joanna, she fights Jan. Joanna beats Jan. Then Joanna would be a shoe-in for her rematch with Weili. And yeah, that's a fight that she would take. Definitely a rematch she would take. Yeah, I don't see her ducking anything. Man, TJ, you see, her head always do that. Her head didn't get as big in the Andrade fight and the Carolina fight, but I think it was both of those fights. Her head got big in both of those fights, but she got big knots on them before, so that big head ain't nothing new to her, man. She'll go in there. Mary Thomas, what's going on? I see Rose beating Wei Lee if she pushes herself, or Wei Lee can just overpower her. Yeah, I think for Wei Lee to win the fight, it's going to have to be a dog fight. It's going to have to be a dog fight. It's going to have to be a clinch fight. It's going to have to be physical. For Rose to win, it's got to be a chess match. It's got to be chess match and her pure power getting the respect of Wei Lee in 5 rounds of focus until you can. If you can't stop her in inside of 5, then it's going to be 5 rounds of pure focus for Rose, and that's going to be that's a question mark. Does Rose have that focus to last 5 rounds with Wei Lee? You got 5 rounds in you to play chess. I said, yeah, TJ. I said her head never looked exactly like that, but she's gotten big knots before. She got a knot in that Carolina fight or Just Gone Dry fight. One of those fights, or both of those fights, she got a knot on that head, and it was kind of big. I think that just happens whenever she gets hit in the forehead, that in that like position of her forehead, wherever she gets hit in that certain spot, her head just does that. I mean, that might be a sign of something that she might need to retire, but yeah, her head will swell up, man. I mean, it never got to that football size like it did that night, but yeah, she's had knots on there before. Yeah. Mary said Whaley is more powerful, but Rose is more technique. But Whaley is more powerful, and Whaley is also strong. Like Whaley's got more power. Well, let's put this. I think Rose has more power in her hands. Actually, I like to separate power and strength. I think Rose has more power in her hands. Whaley is stronger. I think she's all around physically stronger, but Rose has power in her hands. But Rose lacks that physical strength like a Joanna does, if that makes sense. I mean, I might do a video break. I'll probably do a video breaking it down, but I feel like Rose has power in her hands. I think she's the more powerful of the two with the striking because of her accuracy. But she lacks the physical strength of like Joanna that really helped her pull her through that Wei Lee fight. She's not as durable. She doesn't really have that leg strength or that type of body to take a beating. She doesn't really have that body that takes a beating or that type of strength to push you off or like pop back up or go into a clinch and fight you. Wei Lee has that well-rounded dog style. Like Wei Lee can't hit as hard, but I, I'll say maybe by a little bit. I think Rose can hit a little bit harder. I think it's close. I think it might be close, but I want to give Rose a little bit more credit because I think she's a much more precise puncher. Yeah, most people lumped up JJ, but not. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like I know that Wei Lee put the football on her head, but still, like her head has been doing that for years, and I hate to say it, but I think it might be leading up to something that where yeah, you might want to retire soon. Yeah, I don't know, because over the years the thing swells up bigger. Gary, what's going on? I rather have Wei Lee versus Carla slash Yawn. I have Wei Lee. I rather have Wei Lee versus Carla Yawn in March 2021 over Wei Lee Rose in October 21. I don't want to waste Rose. The Rose fight might happen earlier than that. Ernest said, "Hell, Valerie Letourneau gave her a knot." Exactly. I'm telling you, man, she be getting knots in here, man. Like, I mean, yeah, this is the first time we've seen something that grotesque, but still, like, yeah, her head always swells up. Daniel H. Whaley is so durable. If she cracks Rose on her nose a few times, Rose will lose some confidence. Yeah, Rose is stronger than her appearance. Yeah, I think she. Yeah, I think she may be, but I think that Wei Lee is stronger. I mean, going back off of what I've seen in some of these fights, I think the type of strength that I'm looking at, like versus what Joanna possesses. Like I think she is stronger than her appearance, but when you look at physical strength, I think Joanna is stronger. Let me put it that way. I think Joanna is stronger than Rose. Like she may be stronger than her appearance, yes, but Joanna is stronger, all around stronger. Let me put it this way: she's built for 5 rounds. She's built to take a beating. She's built to push fighters off. She's built to stay on her legs for 5 rounds. She's got that. Mary Thomas said Whaley is strong, but she's also explosive. Yeah, she's explosive. Rose is powerful too, but the power comes out in a different time. Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean, Mary. Like Wei Lee is explosive. Like, yeah, she's explosive. She's got that type of fast twitch muscle. She has that burst. Rose, her power comes out in them hands. Powerful. And the leg kicks, powerful. Yeah, yeah. So I understand you. Yeah, I understand you. Stamina said Rose is a glass cannon. I agree with the distinction of strength and power, but disagree Rose has an advantage in either. I don't know about that. I think Whaley is has I think Whaley has the upper edge in the physical fight here. The LA said her power comes from them shots you don't see coming. Crazy speed. Yeah, timing too. Timing, speed, accuracy, all that comes into play. Marcus said Whaley had JJ head looking like Timothy Tooth. Okay. Mary, I just don't think Rose is durable enough to take the damage if she touches a lot. That's yeah, yeah. I don't either. Like, I think, and that's what I'm saying about strength. Like, you got to have that 5 round, that 3 round strength where your body can withstand punishment, it can dish out punishment, and you can still go back in there, and you won't break down as fast. You can carry it through a fight. You can fight at a pace, and you get down to that last round, you can hit that second win. Hit that second gear. Because again, yeah, I know Rose is probably stronger than she looks, but it didn't appear that way in the Andrade rematch. It didn't really appear that way in the Andrade rematch. Yeah, her boxing was on point. Yeah, her legs were moving beautifully, but any type of movement that Jessica Andrade put on her, any type of punch that Jessica Andrade touched her with, she was getting moved. Any type of body gesture from a fighter that can move you like that, your strength might be questionable. Ernest said Whaley gets stunned in the head. Rose has to hit Whaley with that left hook she hit JJ with. Yeah, accuracy is really going to come into play. Like, see, Joanna punches in volume. That type of volume and variety that she punches with, that's how she got Whaley's respect. Like the way she hit her with that left hook and she kicked her to the face, or like the volume of punches. Then she switched to southpaw. I know y'all remember that third round when she switched to southpaw and Whaley, and she just started popping Whaley with those left hands straight up the middle. If you're that type of fighter, that's what you do. Joanna hands hands are staying busy. Rose, on the other hand, you got to pick your shots. You got to get the power off. You got to extend. You got to fully extend, and you gotta hit the hurt Whaley. You got to hit the hurt. You got to put the power on her. Timer. You got the timer. See, I won't say Rose needs to be busy, because if Rose stays busy, Whaley might time her and get a body lock on her, get her in a clinch. And we don't want to see Rose in there with the physically stronger fighter getting handled that way, right? So she's got a pot shot. She's got to pick her shots from the outside. Because you stick your hands out there, 1, 2, 3, and you're not built to take a counter from Weili or built to, whenever she comes in to clinch you, boom, you're going down, or boom, you're going to be in a dog fight. So Rose just has to fully extend shots. I think Weili is going to attack Rose's leg. I could see that. She tried that with Joanna, but Joanna's too busy, but I could see her doing that with Rose. I think I could see that. I think Rose's technical ability is overstated. I don't think so. Like, I think her technical ability, she could be a boxer. Let me put it that way. When it comes to her striking game, but I think all around she's a good fighter though. Genesis says she was getting lit up. Mary Thomas said, correction, who is able to take more? Who is able to take more? Also, Rose's footwork takes a lot of energy, which I noticed she slows down towards championship rounds. Weili slows down too, but only if you take her there. Yeah, Weili's got that second gear, you know what I mean? Like, she can switch gears easy. And if she sees you slow down, then she'll speed up. Can we acknowledge that Weili was in very little sleep over several days when she fought Joanna? Are you making excuses, TJ? Danielle H, great observation. I noticed that Rose movement is tricky but draining. Robert Henry, for all this talk, I've never seen Rose stopped by strikes. I may be wrong. Plus, I think neither her or Weili would knock each other out without heavy accumulation. I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, neither has really dealt with like a striker with that type of pop before. I mean, well, let me scratch that. Rose has. Jessica Andrade, yeah, she has dealt with it. But Weili got Jessica Andrade out of there so fast that I can't even really gauge that one. I could see it. I could see somebody getting stopped in this one. I'm kind of leaning towards like the explosiveness of Weili actually like playing out where she would actually land something big and stop Rose. That's a possibility though. That's a possibility. Gary said Rose has too much trouble with brawling. We've only seen Weili go 5 rounds once in the UFC. The sample size is kind of small. Yeah, we only see her go 5 rounds once, right? And man, that 5 rounds she went was with one of the best. I don't think anybody's ever gonna push her like that though. If you can go 5 rounds with Joanna, shoot, I gotta give you all the credit because I don't think there's gonna be anybody else that can push you 5 rounds the way she did. I really don't know if Weili's cardio was up to JJ's level. She was able to keep JJ at bay with power. Yeah, it's not like Joanna's cardio was just sick, boy. It's like crazy. Her cardio is sick. That's why I said if you can go 5 rounds with Joanna, then I think you did something right because I don't see many other strawweights going 5 or giving Weili trouble in 5 the way Joanna did. Busy feet, busy hands, and touching you every single round. Man. Weili, she did do this was her first time going 5. She did go. This is her first time going 5 rounds, but to me, that kind of says that she can go 5 rounds against just about anybody. I mean, look, Jessica Andrade would have probably been the next toughest choice to go 5 with, and she knocked her out in 1, right? Who else in the division is going to go 5 with her and give her trouble? We already kind of questioning Rose going 5 with her, right? So who else is going to go 5 rounds against Weili and give her a hell of trouble? Claudia Gadelha? No. Yan Xiaonan, I don't think so. So the more and more you look at it, it's a very interesting fight here. I mean, you got technique, power, then you got strength, physical strength. You got a little bit of everything. You got a little bit of everything in this fight. Whaley, I think, is more so working towards being more well-rounded. Yeah, Rose, I think she possesses some superior skill that Whaley doesn't have, but she still doesn't have some of the things that Whaley doesn't have. So it's interesting. Stamina said, "I'm gonna make a start right now." I'll make a start. Yeah, you mean a pick? You gonna pick now or what? Are you saying you're gonna pick? Question is Zhang. The question is, will Zhang be about to land on Rose like she landed on JJ? Uh, you know, um, like I said, it's gonna come down to Rose getting the respect early on. Rose is gonna have to keep a good distance, man. Zhang will land on Rose like she landed on Andrade. Let me see. Let me land on Rose like she did. I don't think so. If Andrade can land on Rose, so can Wei Li. Depends on what type of approach you take. Rose started messing up in that last part of the fight. I mean, when she starts to go stationary, yeah, but if she goes back to the lateral movement that she was using, uh, you know, Mary Thomas said, yeah, especially if Andrade was able to clinch Rose, Whaley shouldn't have a problem. Uh, TJ said, in all seriousness, Rose is too easy to hit, and Zhang has the power advantage and a comparable speed. See, whenever TJ says something like "in all seriousness," I don't know if I can take that seriously though. I don't know if I can take that seriously. Mm-mm. I can't take it seriously. Should I? Should I? Yawn has pretty decent cardio, Gary, but I gotta factor. I gotta question it a little bit. Whenever you haven't been hit by elite fighters yet, I wonder how that cardio will react against elite fighters. Like Claudia wasn't really like a tough challenge for it, in my opinion, but I still need to see Yawn in one of them 5 round fights where she's in there with somebody that's gonna be hitting her and making her move. Ernest said Yawn can box it out for more than 5 if needed. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'd like to think so too. I'd like to think so too, man. But like I said, I want to see it in there with a durable opponent where it's like, can I take a shot? Can I take these shots and still keep it moving with the same intensity later on when we get down the stretch? You got to factor in a lot of that stuff. So yeah, man. I know the coach about to do his thing. He got an interview with Sam Hughes. So if y'all want to go head over there, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up off of here right now. But I'll probably come back on this weekend. I'm just chilling this weekend. But yeah, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section about everything we were talking about. Like I said, Joanna coming back to the game. That's a good thing. Um, 2021, she comes back against Yan Zhao, and maybe that's the fight to push. I'm excited for it if she does. Probably got some breakdowns with her coming because, like I said, I do like her style. Uh, Again, Rose is not a duck, and my pick for tomorrow. Well, my picks for tomorrow, I'm gonna pick the Wei Li fight. No. The panty fight. The panty fight, Sajara fight. That fight's too close to call, man. I don't know. That was a close one to call. But anyways, yeah, Taylor Santos. I got her in that fight against Jillian Robertson. But yeah, man, I'm about to get up out of here, y'all. He got a interview on 8:30 on the coach's channel. So if y'all want to check that out, I'm about to get up out of here. Thanks for everybody coming through and conversing. Like I said, I'll probably come back on the same time, maybe same time tomorrow. But all right, y'all, make sure y'all subscribe, hit the thumbs up. I'm out. Peace.